Something is on your mind. You know you can talk to me. Well, I want to make a purchase, but if I use one of my cards, I'm sure the bank will see what I've bought and where I've bought the item of interest. I don't want the bank to be all up in my business. Whatever I buy is between me and the retailer. It's a privacy thing, nothing serious. Privacy is very serious, man. What are you talking about? Privacy limits power. Power of banks, as now in your case, but also power of governments and private sector companies. I stand corrected. Privacy is a very serious subject matter. The more someone knows about somebody, the more power they can have over them to influence decisions or to shape behavior. Right. With cash money, you can create some sort of barrier between yourself and the government, even though the bank will know you took money out of your account. In a way, I don't have a problem with the bank seeing me taking money from my account, but there's no reason for them to see where I'm putting gas in my tank or where I'm getting groceries. So, I prefer to use cash money. That way I can pay the seller, get a receipt, and leave without a trace, in comparison with people that use their card for every purchase. I prefer not to protract as much. That's already happening with people using cards to make purchases, because those purchases are traceable. Banks can create a profile of somebody based on the data it gets. And that's dangerous because there are conversations happening between central banks, financial institutions, governments, businesses, investors, and some other parties to use CBDCs in the future. CBDCs, Central Bank Digital Currency. It refers to a digital form of a country's national currency that is issued and regulated by a central bank and monitored by its government. Very scary, because that'll give the central bank absolute control over citizens' financial activities. Use of cash is declining as digital payments like debit and credit cards are rising, while CBDC projects are moving ahead. Society could open up Pandora's box if this continues. Right, because central banks and governments could reject if people can buy something, what people can buy, and how much of something can be bought by programming CBDCs a certain way. CBDCs are inspired on Bitcoin. The only difference is that a currency like Bitcoin doesn't have a central authority. It's decentralized and unregulated. Financial institutions hate that. Maybe I'm not up to speed with Bitcoin as much as you are, but Bitcoin and cash provide a high level of anonymity, privacy with transactions, there is reduced surveillance, and has limited tracking. Absolutely, because for comparison, CBDCs leave a digital trail. The level of privacy can depend on how it's programmed and implemented. And because CBDCs will be controlled by central banks and governments, it could be argued that they could abuse their power. The government could exclude certain citizens with an opposing point of view from society. Indeed, there seems to be a culture nowadays where banks act like they are the morality police. If someone with the government and the government doesn't like it one bit, that same government could limit the financial freedom of the person's CBDCs, abusing the power the government has. If you ask me, CBDCs are simply a surveillance tool that the government will use against its citizens. Of course, central banks and governments will disguise CBDCs as an improved and efficient way to make payments with increased security and transparency. Increased security and transparency. Yeah, right. It creates opportunity for central banks and governments to collect financial data from its citizens. A quote from the International Monetary Fund states, "From a privacy standpoint, such data could be used to surveil citizens' payment activity." Well, there you have it from the source itself. That's pretty much all you need to know. A lot of notable international organizations have been actively monitoring and researching CBDCs, like the Bank for International Settlements, the International Monetary Fund, World Bank, and the United Nations, to name a few that people might know exist. And those organizations exist for a global order. Anyhow, you want me to loan you some cash money. How much would you like to borrow? Well, I'd like to borrow, and I want to buy. Wow. Well, I can see why you want to use cash. And I just thought of a meme. Hear me out. CBDCs, because who needs financial freedom when you can have centralized control?